Hey team. All right, so we're starting our new unit today. So we're gonna kind of do an intro on that, talk about what you can expect, walk you through where to find everything on iLearn. And then we'll be talking about why our perception matters. And that will make more sense to you as we go along. All right, so our unit today, we're reading a book called Boy Meets Boy. So it's about a high school sophomore, 10th grader. His name is Paul, and he has to deal with issues in his love life and his friendships. So let's take a look at where you can find this in iLearn. So this is Unit 2, How We See Things. That's the one that we're in today. So that's where all of your work is going to be. And like usual, you're going to have a resources folder. And in that folder, you have the copy of the book right here, the PDF, and you also have a link to the audiobook. So this audiobook is through Spotify. So if you don't have a Spotify account, it's free. I would really suggest you get one because there's also tons of cool music on there. You probably already have one. And then it has some documents that you are used to. Okay. So let's come back to our PowerPoint and just kind of talk about what we're doing. So Paul is a sophomore in high school. Um, he's gay, just so you know, and he is out. He's totally cool. Everybody's totally cool with it. And his family, they're really accepting. His friends are really accepting. So it's not like the situation we had last year with Brad and his family where he was scared to be out. For Paul, that's totally fine. Okay. So here's some of the things that we're gonna be doing in the unit. We're gonna keep doing logs. You're gonna keep having reading for homework. You're gonna keep having reading quizzes. We're gonna keep working with connotative language, theme, and central ideas. And then there's going to be some new things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about poetic structure, not a whole bunch, but a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about tone and foreshadowing, and we're also going to be working with parallel plots. So if you don't know what those things are, that's okay, because you know I'm going to teach you. So the place we're going to start with this unit is that it's all about perspective, right? Our perspective, seeing someone else's, how our perspective can change what we think is happening. So we're going to be focusing on three main questions throughout the unit. We're going to look at how our perspective influences our behavior, how can our perspective be incomplete, and how can we see a different perspective. So one of the things we're talking about today is that we actually tell ourselves stories, and those are part of our perspective, right? So we're going to be looking at a woman named Brené Brown. She's a social worker. She studies shame and vulnerability. She's super smart. She's discovered some really amazing things. And we're going to read a short, tiny little excerpt about one of her books about the stories that we tell ourselves and how that impacts the way that we behave. Because sometimes the story that we're telling ourselves is incomplete, or even sometimes it's untrue. Okay. So we're going to be looking at that with her. So you can go ahead and pause the video now and do that part. Okay, so if you've finished reading the little Brené Brown part, we're also going to ask you to do a little bit of writing on your own. So we should be looking for at least a page in your Google Doc that's going to look like half a page. And we're going to ask you to write about a time when your perspective at a situation, so the viewpoint that you saw it from, impacted the way that you changed it or changed, the way that you handled that situation. So that was my husband sneezing. What happened? What's your point of view? Why did you feel that way? How did the other person or people involved feel? Were you missing information? Was there something you didn't know? What was that? And if you were in this situation again and you knew what you know now, would you do anything differently? So let me give you an example. So when I was in high school, my curfew was 9 o'clock and all the way up until I was a senior in high school. It was 9 o'clock on school nights, 10 o'clock on weekends. And I was only allowed to go out one school night and one weekend night per week. So if I went out on Monday night, that was it. I was not allowed to go out on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Um, so I felt like that was really unfair. I lived in a place where I could drive. I was doing a lot of stuff after school. I was in our plays. I was in a couple of music groups. I had a job. And so I felt like that curfew and the restriction on the number of days that I could go out made it really, really hard for me to spend any time with my friends because all of my time was taken up with, my job and my extracurricular activities. So I felt like that was really unfair. I wanted to change it either to make the curfew late or to go out more days per week. And my mom was the other person involved, and she felt like I needed to be responsible first and see my friends later. She really wanted me to be safe, so she wanted to cut down on the amount of time that I was driving. She wanted to make sure that she could protect me if she needed to. So she wanted to cut down on the amount of time I was not home. And the thing that I didn't know at that time was that she had actually been pretty relaxed with my older sister with her curfew. And my sister had really taken advantage of that. And so my mom kind of didn't fully trust me. She was afraid that I was going to behave the way that my sister did. My sister didn't do anything bad. She just, stayed out late and like was kind of not home because she was with her friends. And that really hurt my mom's feelings. So I think she was trying to avoid that. So if I were in that situation again and I knew that, I would say to my mom, like, hey, I'm involved in all this other stuff. I really just want to shift my curfew so that I have like one more option of like time that I can spend with my friends because I just feel like the only time I really see them is school. And, I'm really focused on school and I'm working. And so it's hard to like kind of even hang out with them there. So I would kind of say that differently to her. So you might have something similar. It might be, it could be any type of situation, like losing somebody, it could be a major change, like moving or parents get married or divorced. It could be something with a sibling, something with a friend. It really can be any type of situation where your perspective was different from the other person. So if you need some help, you can let us know and we can help you brainstorm stuff.